Greetings, family. From AA, Exit the Matrix, Anchor.fm is the podcast, Anja Africa on YouTube, ALM the Artist on IG. So I'm here this evening to talk about um, survival tips for the Gambia, which I think you all will find useful, right? Just little things. So I have a list because I don't want to forget. And I think you all are going to get a kick out of these. So, my first survival tip is never pay the first price that's offered to you, right? Um, if they go high, you go low, and hopefully you can meet in the middle and to your satisfaction, right? So, that's important. Uh, Let me see. Sorry, y'all. My earring is hanging loose. I'm not really sure why. I guess because I'm really tired and I probably should be going to bed. But I wanted to do this video before I settled in this evening. Basically, what I do when I'm bargaining with people is I tell them, listen, you could get short-term money now, or you can get long-term money, right? And that long-term money would be me getting a fair price so that I want to refer other people to them. And I offer them a highlight on my YouTube channel, right? They get to do a small interview and market themselves, and the people who follow me will look for them as well. And once they hear that, it's a different vibe, right? So could try that as well. Secondly, never throw away plastics, right? Um, I don't throw away my water bottles. You don't see a lot of plastic bags here because they use these fabric bags that are supposed to be like biodegradable. Um, with the water bottles, you always want to fill them with water from the sink. So if for any reason your water stops running, there's an issue with the power and the pressure is low, whatever the case is, you always have backup water. So I keep water bottles, like liter bottles. I keep like 4 in each bathroom. Um, I keep a bunch under the sink in case I have to boil water if I don't have access. And to also prepare for African shower. If you don't know what an African shower is, I'm going to let you know. African shower is when you are in the shower and for whatever reason the water may stop running or the water isn't running and you need to bathe. So you use the water bottle. You are able to pour it all over yourself after you soap up real good, and then you use the water to kind of rinse off. So that would be an African shower. So you'd be prepared with your water bottles. You also can use your water bottles for sprouting seeds. I just cut my water bottles. I use the top and the bottom to put water in, and I put a bunch of avocado seeds in them with the toothpicks, and I'm hoping to see if they sprout. It's a good way also to use for any seeds. If you have, I don't know, papaya, mango, whatever, you can use the water bottle as like your starter pot. So that's a good way to use them. Um, the other thing to do, let's see. Oh, if you need to save oil, right? You may have cooking oil or something that you need to save. You can do that in your water bottles. After the oil cools, you could pour it into your water bottles and use them as additional storage. I also use them for cleaning. Like I put my orange skins inside. Like I'm just in the habit of not throwing away anything here. If I can't put it back into the earth, I'm reusing it over and over again. I've made teas in my water bottles. I just put the herbs, I add fresh, bottled water, and I let it steep or sit overnight, and then I drink the tea. So you have a couple of options. The other thing is I talked about, like compost, right? Type things like don't throw away your mango skins, your lemon peels, your orange peels. Like you want to kind of store those things separately. Egg cartons, tissues, um, You can replant your roots, you can save seeds, so you always have something that you can recycle. Um, Try not to kill things that are necessary to the environment. Like I did a video on IG where I was showing this spider that was like unexpected and uninvited. Geckos you may see, but you know, they are all part of the natural environment. They all serve a purpose. So you may want to refrain from trying to kill them. What I mostly do is just, I may make an effort to get them out the house, but if I know they're not next to me, I don't bother with them. I haven't been bothered by them yet, so I'm okay with that. Um, Someone told me never leave your toilet seat up, right? So if you use the toilet, ladies or men, you want to close the seat down because, as you know, mosquitoes are attracted to water. So if you sit your bum on the toilet, you may get bit up because mosquitoes be waiting for you. You'll be walking around, scratching your behind, looking like an old crusty you know, vagabond or something scratching your behind. But if you remember to put the toilet seat down, that won't be an issue for you. So this will be for the guys as a reminder. Same thing. I know sometimes you guys like to leave the seat up. In this particular situation, you want to put the lid down. Make sure the toilet is closed, that there are no mosquitoes waiting for you. Also, some people like to put buckets of water as extra in their bathrooms. I don't really care for the bucket method because I feel like it's a breeding ground for mosquitoes. So if you're going to do that, you may want to cover your bucket up. Um, and I like to use the bottles personally. So you'll have to decide what works best for you. Um, Offer gratuity when people are offering you a fair price, or if they're giving you some sort of labor or service. Like the other day, I needed something carried up, and my building manager looks like he had an injury. He called some guys to help. It was like four of them, you know, and they came and they helped me carry some things in. And when they were leaving, like I gave them, you know, a few Delasi, and they were so grateful. They actually was surprised, but my thing was, you know, they stepped away from drinking their coffee to assist me. So the least I could do is buy them, you know, another cup of coffee each, let them get a drink or whatever. So, you know, offer gratuity. It's the polite thing to do, and people may not want it, but at least they know that you respected what they did. You gave value to what they did. And I think that's different here. So it's helpful to do that. You want to develop a rapport with local storekeepers, vendors, taxi drivers, because they'll be the ones that look out for you. Like there's a man that's behind my building where I live at who has toilet paper in his container. He also has dishes and stuff like that. I purchased from him a few times, and I had asked him to hold some items for me over the weekend. And I tried to give him part of the money because I couldn't get to the you know, I didn't have additional Gelasi on me. And he said, no, keep it. I'll hold the items, you know, come with all of it when you're ready. So I was like, okay, you know, I appreciate that. So when I was coming home, I had the taxi driver take me directly to him, and I figured I would just walk home from there. But this taxi driver, he was a persistent one, you know, had the proposal telling me why I need a husband, how he could be my husband because everyone needs a distraction at night. And he just went on and on, and he just kept talking. And I was just like, how much is the fare? So finally, the gentleman that I purchased from, he comes out from behind his, you know, his seating area, and he comes to the taxi and opens the door, and he's like, "Is everything okay? Are you all right?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm good," you know. But that was his way of letting the driver know, like, you need to push on, you know. And I appreciated that. I did. I sat and talked with the gentleman and his son for a little while. And then he ended up carrying my bag and walking me home because I was carrying the things from the basket weaver that day. So, you know, also when your folks, your storekeepers, your vendors, they see you keep returning to them, they start throwing in extra oranges. They see you sending them customers. They start looking out for you as well. They'll let you know when they get certain things, they will hold it for you. So there's an advantage to developing a rapport with people you're doing business with. Um, Taxis. Yeah, let's talk about the taxis, y'all. When you jump in a taxi, before you get in, you want to ask them if it's a local taxi or a private taxi. You want to ask them how much it costs to get from A to B and make sure they're going to the place you want to go to. Private taxis charge a little more. Local taxis charge like $10. Private taxi maybe 75 to 100. Private taxi is usually just you riding. The public taxi will have other people in the vehicle, so you want to ask that. Also, when you get in, like check your environment. Like I've gotten in taxis where I see ants on the seat, there's flies back there, so you want to, remove them or decide whether that's something you want to be a part of. The other thing is I sat in a taxi the other day and I thought I was going to end up on the ground because it pushed when I tried to sit back, I was like sunken into the trunk. So I had to kind of sit up and sit forward. So just be conscious of little things like that. Because some of them are just really running on their last leg. You'll get in a taxi, you'll see they got their fuel light is on. There'll be other lights on across the dashboard, but they still driving the car. So you have to figure out how important it is to you. If you want to keep your safety in mind, how you want to proceed with that. Um, let's see. Okay, when you purchase at independent vendors, right, like fruit stands and stuff like that, ask them the price and negotiate in advance. Okay. So we had a situation where we were in a taxi. I'm sorry, where we were at a fruit stand, and I was with this sister, and she was buying bananas, and the vendor took it upon herself to snap some of the bananas from the bunch and give it to the sister, and then tried to say, well, that's 100 dalasi, and the sister was like, I'm not paying 100 dalasi for no bananas. And then the lady started getting indignant, like she came to jump out from behind her stand, like you're gonna buy this. She was talking, and I think it was while she was speaking, but she was going off like you're gonna buy this, and you have to take this. And we was with a sister from Gunjur, from the village, and she was telling the lady, stop being greedy. Don't do that. Don't be greedy. But the lady was like acting like she wanted to like throw hands, right? So when she came from behind the stand, I put out my arm. It's like, whoa, where you going? What are you doing? That's not necessary. And then she kind of had to bring herself down for a minute. But the sister that I was with was standing her ground like, what you gonna do? And I'm like, oh boy, this is not good. We just came to get some bananas, so can we roll? So I offered to buy the bananas that she snapped off the bunch. And then I ended up taking all of them, and I just gave the sister the ones that she wanted, and I took like one or two and just ate it right there, the ones that she popped off. But that could have went left really, because I can't imagine us getting into a fight with an elder and then the rest of the vendors coming to her rescue, and we running through the streets of Serakunda, so it was kind of wild. So you will be expected to purchase it despite the price if you don't take care of that in advance, right? Um, be prepared for random proposals from people in your locality. The taxi, I talked about that before. Be prepared for people inviting themselves to your space. Like I had someone call me and was like, "Hey, how you doing? I heard you moved. How's your new place?" I'm like, "It's good." He's like, "Oh, well, I'm on this side of town. I could come over by you." And I was like, that would be a negative. You don't invite I didn't say it to him, but in my mind, I was thinking, you don't invite yourself to my space. You don't get to do that. If you are expressing interest in me, then you will extend an invitation to meet me someplace, to invite me someplace. But no, you don't get to bring your energy in my space. I don't know you like that. So I said, no, well, no, I don't think so. I hadn't gotten dressed. Like I was in my vintage Victoria's Secret robe and my gown, and I was just feeling myself. I was like, I'm not going nowhere today. I'm just going to sit out on the patio. I did some laundry. I enjoy my company very much. People find that hard to believe. They'll be like, "You're not lonely, you're not bored." No, honey, I keep myself very busy. I'm doing a podcast, I'm doing YouTube, I'm editing videos, I'm putting my business plans in order, I'm on the phone. Like, I'm busy. I'm busy. So when I have time alone, it's time for me to kind of regroup and do what I need to do. And I don't want people's energy in my space that I'm not really close to like that. If you have an opportunity to be in my space, it's because I respect you, I appreciate you. It's a reciprocation of friendship. That's a different thing. But just random people like, oh, let me come hang out. No, you don't get to hang out in my space. That's not what my space is for. We can meet on the beach, you can meet at we can do lots of things, but we ain't got to include my space in it. Um, so I just wanted to say that. Let's see what else we have. Uh, Children. Let me give y'all a laugh now. So the children here, especially the children in Gunjur and some of the other villages, I'm sure, I can only speak on where I've been. The kids are very athletic. Like, they just have natural ability that they take for granted, right? So I was in a village. You probably saw the video where I was playing with the kids. We were dancing, playing musical chairs. So they challenged me to skip rope, which is what they call it, and I say jump rope. And they challenged me to a race, right? So the funny part was, I must have had a flashback of my track days. I was like, yeah, let's get it. Go to the end of the road. It's all sand. I take off my shoes. They said, mark it, set, go. I take off. When I tell you I didn't get no further than 2 steps before I fell face down in the sand, I don't know what made me think I could run in the sand, but you couldn't tell me I couldn't run in the sand. I tried it. In slow motion, I went from this position to down in the sand. The poor babies, they turned around. They was like, "Auntie, are you okay?" And they was playing, and some of them was laughing. The old people was laughing. I gave folks a laugh that day. I sure did. But I got up and I was like, "Come on, let's do it. We got to do it again. We got, dust myself off." And I had to do that, right? Because when the kids were racing the first time, some of them fell and they was crying, and I didn't get why they were crying. I'm like, "No, don't cry. Dust yourself off. Come on, we do it again. Stay in it." So there was no way I could fall and not do the same thing, right? So I'm just grateful it was sand and not cement, because I don't think I would have recovered the same way. But we ran, we jumped rope, we talked, we played all kind of little games and songs. I watched them play games in their traditional language, and sing songs, and it was beautiful. It was a beautiful day. But don't do like I did, y'all. Don't be having no flashbacks of 20, 30 years ago when you could do certain things, because you can't keep up with these kids. You just can't. Okay, it is what it is. So that was a good awakening for me. The next thing is, be prepared for, interacting with a few people who may not be friendly. I haven't come into a contact with a lot of people like that on this trip. um, I did come in contact with one person that was at a restaurant when I came the first time to Gambia, and I was looking for some food, and I was with someone, and I said to the individual, like, what is she serving? And I greeted the woman. She didn't greet me back. And when he was trying to talk to her, she was like turning her head, like she didn't want to be bothered. And I was just kind of like, okay. And then when I would talk to her, she would talk to him. She wouldn't even look at me. So I said, you know what? This is not a good match. Like, there's no way that I'm going to eat from someone who doesn't even want to talk to me. Like, if you don't want to service me and you don't want to be bothered, that's cool. I don't need to give you my money. So I walked away. But that was the only person I really came into contact like that. I have come in contact with a few men who prefer to speak to my male counterpart that might be with me rather than deal with me. But outside of that, I haven't really faced anything where people have been like, nasty or rude or anything like that. Um, the other thing I want to say is, don't expect repats to be on point, right? Because some of them will have a different agenda, right? Don't think because you came from the States or you just repatriated and this other individual did as well that y'all gonna be on the same page, because that's not the case. That's not the case. Check out my video on emotional intelligence, as well as the video I did on do your core values align with your behavior? Okay, and you'll see what I mean. Do connect with people that are high vibration, that are like minded, that exercise consistency and integrity, right? You want to connect with people like that. um, there's a saying, and I said this to a dear friend of mine. I said to her, she was talking about some situations she had where people just weren't there for her, and she's always there for them. And I said, if you have to keep being the bigger person, stop hanging out with little people. I saw that saying, and I put my own little twist on it, but it just made sense. You always have those situations where you always got to be like, oh, let me apologize, or let me mediate, or let me, like, if you got to keep doing that, stop hanging out with people that require that type of attention, that type of low vibration energy. It stunts your growth. Like, you need to be around people that are productive, make you a better person. That's really what it's about. People who uplift you. Oh, think of your friends, think of your funds. Your funds should be your friend, but think of your funds in the currency that you're using. So for me, if I'm purchasing something, for example, let's say I want to buy a toaster and it is in Dalasi, it's expensive, right? And I think about it in dollars and I'm like, hold up, that's $40. Now I know I wouldn't pay $40 for this toaster in US. So why would I pay that in Dalasi? That would really be expensive. The other thing is to think in terms of Dalasi when you buying at the local markets, because in your mind you might be like, oh, I'm getting 4 mangoes for less than $1. Yes, that's true, but that's the going rate. So you want to look at it and the currency that you're spending. And Jalasi is just a fair price for mangoes. Now, if you want to give extra, you can, but you shouldn't be paying 2 and 3 times the price for mangoes when the local price is something different. Because we know that there's a price for locals and there's a price for two bobs, a price for foreigners. So I like to have my folks advocate for me. I like to make bargains with people. I'm like, listen, I'm gonna be back. I drink fresh orange juice every morning. I just bought a dozen oranges from you. I will come back, but if you want to keep me as a long-term customer, be fair with the price. And then they like, okay. I really try to get people that I interact with to think long term. Like, stop thinking short term, thinking about short term gain. Think about keeping me as a customer, right? So I think most of them are getting it that I've been dealing with. When changing and exchanging funds, right? This was something I learned on a Limbic channel. When changing and exchanging funds, you want to make sure you are using large bills because you get a higher rate for the larger bills, $100 bills. You're doing $20 bills, $10 bills, you're not going to get the highest exchange rate. Um, and also, do like I did. Like, for me, in the States, we have to like seek out people, black owned businesses, right? We want to know who we're spending our money with. You don't necessarily have to do that here because many of the businesses are black owned, but there are sometimes where they appear black owned and they're not. They're owned by the Lebanese, they're owned by the Chinese, but they will use the face of an African person to, you know, um, sell the business, if you will. So I have asked a few times, like, well, who owns this space? Because you'll see a German flag up, so you want to know what's the situation? Did somebody buy this for you? Is this your spot, or is this money going to that other individual? That makes a difference to me because I want to support our people. So for my space, I actually sought out local craftsmen. I sought out the bamboo man because I wanted, he built this bed, this bamboo day bed. I have a queen size bamboo canopy day bed that was built in my room. I sought him out, and he did this project for me. He's also done a number of projects for me. But initially, it was a little rocky because, of course, he was trying to get that bag and he was thinking short term. And I had to explain to him, I'm going to give you exposure. I'm going to order more things from you. So, do you want this to be a long term relationship that could possibly be a partnership based on my designs? Or do you just want to get some quick money? Because we could do that and then I can find somebody else to do the work that I need done. So, we're on the same page so far and it's been going well. I also sought out a basket weaver. I met a basket weaver before I moved. You'll see his video. And I told him I don't want to buy anything right now because I'm going to be moving into my own space, but I'll be sure to come back to you, once I've settled into my new space. And when I got into my new space, I went looking for him, and he was so excited to see me because I have him making hampers, garbage cans, shelves for my bathroom, trays, baskets, bowls. So I'm using him for quite a few things. I want most of the things in my home to be made by local artisans, local craftsmen. I don't want any prefabricated stuff, not the major things in my house. Also, I was thinking in terms of there are no tourists. Like, if there are no tourists here, how am I going to support our local vendors? I can purchase from them versus buying a plastic wastebasket. I can get something handmade. So that's what I've been doing. Um, I also have a seamstress who's going to be making I picked out some beautiful fabrics. She's going to be making all of my curtains and the covers for my bed and things like that. So I'm very excited about that, covering all my pillows. She also has a few uh, clothing projects that we'll be working on together. Those things will be sold in the store when I open. So, yeah, it's coming together. It's coming together. Customer service, y'all. You've heard me talk about this before. Customer service is just like a poor thing here. Like, they need to work on that. I remember really not feeling well one day and going to this restaurant, and they had me waiting like an hour and a half for a bowl of soup. I was like, really? And then the soup came and it was in a gravy bowl, halfway full. And it was like something they just threw together. I just was like, I was so disappointed. I told the owner and her maid, I did not appreciate the service. I paid the bill, but I would not be referring anyone to them. And they apologized, but it was too late because it was poorly done. It wasn't good. Let me see what else I have for y'all. Okay, so last but not least, like, I want to mention, let me see, I think I put it here because I wanted to make a note. Pay attention to the additional hidden talents that individuals around you possess. They may not have stepped into their greatness, but you may be the one to shed light on that and have the power to offer opportunities. And I end with that. I thank you all for watching this video in its entirety. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share the video with people. Share all of my videos with your friends, your family. Hit the notification bell so that you are notified every time I load another video. I upload another video. And I appreciate you all for hanging in this evening. I was tired, but I really wanted to do this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Blessings, and I am going to sleep. It is 7:17 on the East Coast, but it's like 11:17 in other places in the world. Stay blessed. Talk soon. Thank you.